Well, moving on to other news now, and officials in Israel are deliberating a more limited proposal for Hamas to free the hostages. As per reports, Israeli officials are now willing to come down from their original demand to release 40 hostages to fewer than in exchange for a temporary ceasefire in Gaza. Earlier, Hamas rejected an offer by Qatari, Egyptian and US negotiators to set as many as 40 abductees free. The countries proposed to release the men and women aged over 50 years and those who are seriously ill. To that, the Hamas claimed that it does not hold that many hostages in those categories who are still alive. Now, the unsourced report also indicated that various other proposals were discussed at the War Cabinet meeting. However, it did not specify how long a pause in the war would be involved. It said the proposal will be conveyed to mediators shortly. Now, as per Israeli media, Shin Bet chief Ronen Bar and the IDF's hostage envoy presented the proposal at the War Cabinet meetings. The US said that the previous proposal rejected that Hamas would have seen a 6-week truce in the first phase, and now it remains unclear whether that would be shortened in exchange for Israel requesting the release of fewer hostages. Now, US officials added that the previous proposal would have seen a second phase during which men and soldiers under 50 would be released, but no time frame has been publicly specified. The third phase was then to see the release of the bodies of the hostages being held by Hamas, coupled with a permanent end to the war. Reports of Israel coming down from its offer came as speculation indicated that the IDF was close to the start of its long-pledged operation in Rafah. It had said it will evacuate over 1 million Palestinians sheltering there, which until now has not begun. Although at the same time, the IDF activity has been identified on the southern border with Gaza as well. And well, for the very latest on this, Dr. Mordechai Keder is now joining us, who is a former senior IDF military intelligence officer, who is joining us now from Tel Aviv. And thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Keder. And I want to begin by asking you, what do you make of the latest round of negotiations on the hostages and the potential ceasefire? We've had 200 days of war with little or no real achievement on either side.
Well, as long as Hamas still can act, and they actually launched this week some missiles against Israel, as long as this ISIS-like organization is still alive and killing, Israel cannot stop the war. It might take different shapes, different phase, different pace, and I would say, but Rafah should be cleaned from the remnants of this organization, which is more or less the Palestinian ISIS organization.
Right, you say that, but that is a very uphill task given the fact that that's not just the Hamas, but also the civilian population, especially in Rafah, which the Israeli government now plans, to target. And there is, of course, international pressure not to go through with it. How do you, dislocate or move that many people for that kind of an offensive?
First of all, we have no intention to target the civilian population. We have nothing against women and children. The problem is that the combatants who are hiding within the women and children. And this is the problem, because these Hamas fighters couldn't care less about civilians, their own civilians. And this is the problem, because Israel has no intention to attack the civilians, yet Israel must do the job. Otherwise, this jihad organization named Hamas will attack not only us. It is the problem for the whole world. You guys, you saw the same thing in Mumbai 2 years ago, the jihad in Mumbai, and in other places as well, in Ayodhya. So this is the problem which Israel has to face. And we expect that the normal countries, peace-seeking countries like India, will support Israel in this fight against the terrorism.
But Dr. Keder, you say that, but the fact is that you say that the Israeli government has no intention of killing civilians, yet 34,000 civilians are dead in this war, and that's on Israel.
Yeah.
The fact
Yeah,
is
it's wrong.
that there is also domestic pressure on the Netanyahu government to have those hostages released, which we are not seeing. Possibly a truce, a ceasefire in this war could allow that. Is that not true?
First of all, you are quoting the number which is published by Hamas. Nobody really can check this number. That's the first thing. Second thing, this number which Hamas announces includes the fighters of Hamas. It's not the civilians. Of course, they are civilians because they are not a real army. They are a terror organization. So Hamas counts them within the casualties. And unfortunately, TV stations like you, who do not check the facts, include Hamas fighters in the civilian casualties. This is wrong. They are people who come to die in order to fight against us. And yes, and we kill them. Otherwise, they will kill us. And this is actually what Israel fights. Israel fights for its existence because these people do not want Israel in, even if Israel was on a square centimeter on the seashore of Tel Aviv.
Right.
And all the rest are details. They are holding 133 hostages. Nobody really knows if they are alive or dead. They don't release the information against the international law because they don't care about the international law. And Israel negotiates from
Right.
this point because we are negotiating with an organization of terrorists, not
Right.
with a normal state.
Well, unfortunately, in the world of technology, there's nothing really to hide. There are visuals and images coming out of Gaza as well. Those numbers may be from Hamas, but they are being, they are being confirmed by international organizations that you are also part of, like the UN and the WHO. I'm afraid we're completely out of time here. Dr. Kedar, thanks very much indeed for joining us. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.